What's up? This is something else I wanted to react to. Just got released a little bit ago. And I thought it was interesting to hear what she went through. So, without further ado and without spoiling what she's going to say, let's go, dude.
What up, guys? It's not morning, and I don't have coffee, but welcome
It's
to
not
Morning Coffee
acceptable.
Thoughts.
I
It's your
don't have
girl
coffee, but
Pearl
I do have caffeine.
back at it with another
Almost
video.
as good.
Okay, I want to give you my intro, but I can't even focus right now because basically I want to document the come up, and that's kind of why I make these videos as I grow, so I can look back and be like, oh, I remember that. And today, for the first time in my life, I was actually scared. And I've never really, how do I put it? I've been bitch scared where I know I'm just freaking out over nothing. You know what I mean? But today,
Nah, fam. Never been scared in my life, dog. I don't get scared. I don't know what you're talking about. Besides that one time at summer camp when I went up they put a harness on me and I had to go up this 30-foot pole where you just grab the rungs and then you get to the top and you have to literally, pull while you're trying to balance on the one rung, you're pulling up your foot to try and get it on the very top, and then you have to push up and lift it up, and then you jumped from there to a freaking trapeze bar. And let me tell you, the first time I did that, I was petrified. I was so scared. But other than that, no, no, no. But I mean, that's just a anecdotal story. It didn't really happen. I don't get scared. It's my official story, and I'm sticking to it.
I I I did some public interviews in this town called Shortage, right? And I by the way, turn this off, it's distracting me. And that's a party place in London. And basically let me just close this so I'm not distracted. Okay. And basically, I wanted to get just people, that wanted to talk. And usually when they're drinking, they want to talk more. And then I want to interview them about abortion, Roe versus Wade. I didn't really, I wasn't even trying to talk about abortion. I was trying to talk about the financial abortion versus, women have the right to choose, but men don't have the right to choose.
I was going to go into more detail, but you basically covered that one. Where it's everybody's always talking about, well, who is it has rights? Who is, women have rights. They can abort a kid whenever they want to. But then a man's held liable for a kid when it is born and financially liable, even if they're not part of the kid's life, even if the woman divorced them to get with another dude, they're still held financially responsible for that kid till they turn a certain age. So the idea is if you, as a woman, get to choose the fate of what happens to the kid, the man who without him you wouldn't be able to have the child also should have a determining factor in what happens to the kid because it does affect him. But people don't care about that because they're like, it's a dude. So, and he doesn't have to carry the baby. But it's a financial burden for 18 years is a back breaking thing. And while I'm sure most people that have children want to help take care of their children, even if things were to go awry with the spouse, I'm sure there's a lot of men out there that want to try and help and take care of their kids, even if things aren't great or they get divorced, etc. Um, it is an interesting thing to talk about because it's well, who has rights then? You know, because you are affecting somebody else by your decisions. So even though you might have rights, you're taking away the freedom of somebody else in the process, you know? So it not only affects the kid or the child or the unborn baby or whatever, the fetus, whatever you want to call it, but it also affects the father and the mother in some way, shape, or form, whether you keep it or not. So yeah, interesting stuff. And I guess that's what she was asking question about, which, dude, she's gonna get herself in trouble. So
And have a financial abortion. And I end up like these three guys that end up like debating for a hot minute, right? Um, we're just like talking in circles, and I'm just like, okay, I need to move on to the next people. Like I've been talking to you for so long. So I keep trying to get interviews, and these men are like sitting around like telling everybody that, oh, she's interviewing you about abortion. She's, and when that wasn't even my original, that wasn't even like what I wanted to interview people about. I wanted to focus on financial abortion, but so the and then like I can see them all like talking shit, right? And I don't care. I don't know these people from Adam, but it's like almost like a mob starts forming, and it's not like a like completely around me, but I just see it. Like I have this foresight where I'm like, oh no, they're talking there. They're gonna keep getting people, and they're gonna start stopping, and they're gonna be watching. And then I'm trying to interview this last girl, and I actually really wanted to interview her. She seemed actually pretty mad and like, which is great. Those are great people to interview because like I didn't
that's
get
true.
how I put
You're
it
gonna
like
you're
people that
gonna
want to debate. Like she seemed
yeah, because
like
they're
she
gonna
was
give
ready
their
to
full
debate. So I
opinion
was
when
like, this is gonna be a
they're
good interview.
emotionally charged and
But
invested in it.
these drunk people just started like getting really close to my camera, and I just see these groups of people like starting to form around me, and nothing happened to the point like nobody attacked me, nobody tried to steal my camera, but I have never been like that scared in my life, like honestly, because I just could see it. I was like, these guys are gonna keep telling every person that comes by that I'm pro-life, and like it's just gonna keep, which is like a beta.
Dude, I don't know about you guys, but I just heard that weird noise, and I swear to God, I thought it was in my room. I'm looking around, I'm like, what is making that banging noise? I am pretty dang sure it's in the video. I'm sorry. It's so fucking weird. It's like, what the hell? I don't know why. The This is why whenever I film, I lock my door so that like pets or people don't come in um until I'm done. And then they can come in after I'm done, filming or whatever. But because this stuff happens. But for dude, I swear I thought it like something was knocking at my door. I'm like looking at my door. I'm like, okay. Anyways,
Ass
totally
move,
unrelated.
beta ass move, but whatever.
And it's super weird. I don't get the point of stalking somebody that's filming, but I think people do it a lot more than you think they do. If they think they can get on the camera, their 15 minutes of fame, maybe they don't agree with you. It can be fairly dangerous in some way, shape, or form to go and ask controversial questions to people in public. Because you're not necessarily going to be protected by the people around you. And while you might be filming and at least you'll have some sort of record of what happened, anytime you do something like that, you're asking, not asking, but you're putting yourself in a place where there is a high probability of some not great things happening. And I'm not saying that you don't do it, but you just need to be very careful when you do it, and in what way you go about it, because um you might need to bring friends with you, or other people that can kind of be there with you and support you in case things don't go great or people get really hostile or aggressive. um like people might hate or not, people might love or hate Steven Crowder, but when he does those change your mind events, regardless of what side you're on it, it's still interesting to watch them and see the interactions and what people come up with. Um, but it's also extremely dangerous to do something like that because people get really upset when you're questioning something that they believe firmly in, etc. Even if you could be right, they don't want to hear that, and they're going to get mad, unruly. Especially now, I think it's been kind of like promoted that it's okay in an extent to be violent as long as your cause is justified now. So as long as you're like morally what you're talking about is like socially accepted, then it's okay if you attack or hurt other people in your defense of that. So like if somebody's like anti-abortion and there's so many pro-abortion people, then it's like, you know, the pro-abortion people feel okay with harming someone that doesn't have their view because they're going to most people are going to accept what they say, and it's just this weird thing. It's like, since when is that a thing? um I mean, actually I should rephrase that. That's been how it is throughout time. There's a group and they believe a certain thing and they gain dominance and they force everybody else to believe their opinion. I mean, we could go throughout history and give you examples of that. I'm not going to. If you don't believe me, you're probably, well, I don't know what to say to you. Just go look. It's happened. I mean, every religion, every society and had that was ever raised and became anything that people remember in some way, shape, or form was like this. Um, so it's interesting that we're kind of reverting back to that, where it's okay to be violent or hurtful, destroy other people's properties because they disagree or something around you happened that you disagree with. So it's okay to just like hurt others and destroy things in whatever manner you can to get your point across that what they're saying is not okay. Um, Kind of crazy, but I definitely think she's going to have to be really careful and probably is going to need to bring people with her. And it's not that she's a woman going into public and doing this. This is just, dude, like other women will hurt her if she gives them enough views that they really dislike. And I don't think you can tell me that I'm wrong in saying that. Anytime you voice your opinion publicly and you put your face to it, there is a chance that people, you know, remember you and come after you, attack you. That's why celebrities have to hire security guards, etc., because people become obsessed with them, don't like them, want to do harm to them because this, and that. And it's pretty interesting stuff. So as she becomes more popular, she's gonna deal with this more, and it's just a sad reality of being popular that I don't think a lot of people think about, unless you're so in tune with culture and everything around you that you just always say the perfect right thing for every scenario. And in which case, if you could do that, you could probably be safe in most circumstances, at least in the public. Maybe not in private, but in public for sure, where there's lots of different eyes on you. Not anything too bad is going to happen to you. And they might not have even done anything bad to her, but the fact that you feel a threat like that, and then it's people are drunk too, that's another thing. If you're talking to drunk people, you always got to be careful because they're no longer thinking reasonably or rationally all the time, and they're going to do and say things that don't that are way more aggressive, that don't align with how they would normally act because they know it might not be socially acceptable. But when you're drunk, you don't care. And if there's a lot of drunk people around, things can get freaky pretty quick.
So I don't know. I'm not to the point where I'm big enough that people recognize me that often. I'd say like occasionally and more when I'm in the US, but like I don't really get recognized like that. But it's kind of like I'm seeing the trade off where like I actually have to be worried about my safety when I do these interviews. And I'm really grateful for it because I genuinely feel like this is what I've meant to do. I've always felt like my calling is to talk to women, like for years. I don't know why. I've just always felt like I could talk to women in a way that like men can't. And
And that's interesting that she says that, because to an extent I agree. Um it's weird that it's like this, but I feel like there is definitely like a how do you say it? Almost like a sexual bias where women will sometimes not listen to men as much as they would listen to women, especially when it comes to topics that they feel like men aren't involved in. And men do this in the same way to women. Some weird thing that we do. Um, so I definitely agree that I might say something so eloquently spoken, intelligent, it reaches deep into you emotionally. But because of who I am, because I'm a guy, as a girl, you're going to be like, man, he doesn't know what he's talking about. F him. You know? I do think there is something like that. And if you have another girl who's more like you, right? Confirm and say the same thing I said to you, maybe in a different circumstance where I'm not around, where it's just you, you might be more willing to listen to them than and their ideas than you would to me, just because I'm of the opposite sex. And I don't think people realize that this happens more than you would think. Um, just in your personal life, from now on, now that I brought this to your attention, go ahead, and when you're having conversations, especially about things like what she was trying to have conversations about, or something that's really a woman issue, maybe more than a man, just watch how people become so defensive. Or like, say you as a woman go and talk about something that is generally something that men do the majority of the time and they're interested in, they're going to be less willing to listen to you. It's just an interesting thing that happens, but you'll notice it more if you haven't already, that this is true. So sometimes being looking alike or talking in the same way, using the same level of speech, people pick up on different things that will pull them towards you and make them willing to listen. Not make them, but it's like the idea of charisma. There's like a level of like pull that you'll have towards individuals, and some people just have it and some people don't. Everybody could potentially, but some people just naturally have that charisma that makes you interested in what they have to say and do. And sometimes it doesn't always fall along those lines, but I think that is part of it, is how you look and what you say. If you look and say things that other people look and say in their own lives, a lot of times they'll be more willing to listen to what you have to say than, say, somebody that like looks completely different than you and talks in a completely different way. You'll be more closed off to what they have to say, even if you just took their speech verbatim, wrote it on a piece of paper, read it out, and was like, hey, that's a good idea. Just because you saw somebody say it that isn't like you, you'll have a negative bias in your brain towards them. And if you think I'm wrong, well, you're wrong.
and just get them to see like different sides of an argument. But it comes at a trade-off, and I'm just like realizing, like, God, like I'm just so shook, because I've just never, I've always felt safe, like, in my life. I've never felt like I was in any danger for the most part.
Which honestly, that kind of blows my mind a little bit, because I've definitely been in many circumstances in my life where I felt vulnerable, uncomfortable, not safe, and on edge because of where I was at. So it kind of shocks me to hear her say that. Uh, but yeah, I think maybe, I'm probably a little bit older than she is too. And obviously, everybody comes from different walks of life. But I mean, I've been in neighborhoods at night, like walking home, even though I had a good mom and dad and everything. But I went to friend's house, slept over and stuff, and we went to go hang out over here or do this, and your parents don't know everything you do, and the idea that parents are just going to be able to keep track of their kids is crazy. Like, kids are, we were industrious, especially in our teenage years. Like, we knew what to say and how to say things to get the parents to ease off, to allow us to go do what we wanted to do. And like, once you're far away from them, it's not like they're going to be looking and checking on you every 2 seconds. Like, we would walk blocks away to our friend's apartment, and they have nothing, like, they know where we are. They know the general area. They know that we went there, but they have no clue what's going on. And there's definitely unsafe and weird situations you get put into, or like, geez, even some of the friends I had, their family lives compared to mine. Like, I would go to their house and literally feel almost unsafe. One of my good friends, he had a pretty rough home life. And so that was one of the things that made us such good friends, was that, he would always be riding his bike and like not be at home a lot. And I would always be riding my bike. And, one day, like, I spent a lot of time outside at that time in my life. We lived out in the country. So one day, we like, I can't even remember how we became friends, but just one day we were like, yo, you want to play? And we just started playing with this random kid, and became like great friends. I would hang out with him like almost every day, on the weekends, like all the time. But I would go to his house, and his mom and dad, he had a stepmom with a stepbrother, and then his dad with, like, I think he had an older sister, and his dad was scared the crap out of me. At 13, he scared me. Like, he scared me. I don't know if he was really that scary, or if I was just a little kid, and so since he was so much bigger and everything, he was really that scary. It's hard to tell you anymore. But yeah, like, felt so uncomfortable around him and like being in his home. But like, I liked Christian, so I would hang out with the guy, even though, you know, um, his father, or I think it was his father, and then the lady was the stepmother. I don't even remember what she looked like. I remember her son was like crazy. He was a troublemaker. His name was Jamie, and he was a troublemaker. Like, he knew a lot of bad things for being 12 or whatever he was at the time, 12, 13 years old. And he told us all these terrible things that, like, I had never known as a kid, that exposed me. And I'm not saying that it was necessarily bad, but like, I'm just saying that, there have been many things past that. That's just like when I was young, that's something that was really uncomfortable, going to his house, and like, his dad would be drunk sometimes and be loud and belligerent and mean. And, we would be in his room playing games, video games, Nintendo 64. And I was scared of the dude. I was just scared of the dude. Every time I came over there or called to see if Christian was home, I was scared of him. So we played a lot at my house. We also played a lot at his house because he had an N64. And we liked playing like Super Smash Brothers and stuff, and GoldenEye. But yeah, so that's just one experience when I was a lot younger, of feeling, not comfortable, not safe, and literally scared. But there's been many times, especially even as an adult, I would say there's a lot of things that you run into that are some shady situations that would make you be, at least feel fear, whether you're actually scared enough to like run away or like do anything about it. You at least feel some anxiety, worry, and fear, and say, I'm going to face the fear. I'm going to confront it. I'm not going to let it scare me. But I still feel that this is like pressuring me and making me feel scared.
And
Like, I swear to God, dog. Yeah, like, do you have to be this?
I don't know. Wow. So, yeah, that's the morning. If you hear my dog in the background, she's drinking. Ellie, you're ruining my whatever. But
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, this is like that person you sit
well, I'm
next
just
to at
looking
the
at
dinner
stuff.
table
But
that's just like
the
smacking
point
away at
is
their food, and you're
that
like, it's just obnoxious
everything
how
comes at a
loud it
price,
is.
and I know this is going to be the price. And I've been really lucky where the past couple of months I've never really, like, everyone's been really great that I've had on the show. Nobody's ever been super hostile. The worst part I've had is someone being mad about going viral, but like whatever. So yeah, that was really scary.
I think this is basically the main thing she says. That she was just scared, and like I would say, continue to do it, continue to pursue it. Just know that there are risks involved, and you're going to have to accept those risks and maybe put things in place to protect yourself as much as you can from those risks. Be smart about it. But yeah, if you're going to make content, if you're going to talk about issues that are really like life changing, that people really care about, you're going to meet crazies, and you're going to run into people that are aggressively hostile towards you. Um, Maybe because you're a woman, at least in Western societies, it's kind of frowned upon to hurt, at least guys, to hurt women. So, and you might not run into that as much, but me as a guy, if I say something that people don't like, uh I've been physically threatened, verbally threatened by men and women for things that I said and did, uh or just being me, like especially like back in the day when I was drunk and stuff, and I'm a talkative person and an extrovert, and then you put alcohol in me, and just imagine. um so some people would get annoyed with me, to say the least, and you know they try to beat my ass, all sorts of stuff, hurt me, hurt my ego, talk mad shit, all sorts of stuff, like, and as a guy, it's just like, okay, well, I stand my ground and I don't let them do it, and I fight back if they were, like that. um and you just like move on with your life. But it's interesting to hear from another perspective, where it's like this is the first time she's really felt unsafe. Like, that's life. There's a lot of things in the world where you're going to feel very unsafe. So deal with the feeling of unsafe. Do what you can to mitigate it, but keep making content, keep exposing what you think as truth, because regardless of the views that she espouses, you still want to have that conversation, and you need to have that conversation in order to come to a better understanding of your own belief system and why you want to believe what you want to believe. So, you know, uh, congrats to her for becoming more popular, and more people are subscribing and watching her videos. If you don't know who this is uh her name is Just Pearly Things. But um yeah, Just Pearly Things. So she does a lot of stuff about women, red pill maybe community, kind of. I don't know where she falls completely. Maybe not a complete feminist for sure. I've watched a decent amount of her content. She has a lot of opposing views, and I watch her stuff just because, whether I agree or disagree, I like to watch things that are gonna make me think about a topic in a different way and hear other people's views on it. So that's all I got to say about it. Keep your head up. Don't quit. Don't let people bully you or scare you, but maybe just come with a better plan as to how to like protect yourself from physical harm. But you're definitely going to get some very uncomfortable experiences if you continue down this path, talking about things that people get really emotional and insecure about. And maybe don't go and talk to drunk people about it. They may be the easiest people to talk to something about, but it's also dangerous. because they don't always do what you would expect. And yeah, there's a reason that like domestic abuse and alcohol use is like directly correlated to each other. So, with that being said, peace out. You know, hang in there, keep making videos. Don't let them scare you. And I'll see you in the next one, folks.